So now the event is being live streamed.
Oh, dang. It's live streaming already, but it's live streaming on my.
Yeah. Okay. Um. So Samson, we can just kind of co-host the beginning. So welcome everyone to the GOB Network Wednesday capital raising meeting. There are four of us typically host this meeting, and it's me, Vinky, Samson, and Hamad, and Jim Biggs. Every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Central Time, we're hosting this meeting to help other people who are doing either real estate syndications or real estate to learn more about ways and tricks and tips in helping raise capital. And today we have a special guest, Adam Carswell. I know Adam from actually a program that he helps support and run, which is called Raise Master. Many of you probably heard of the program owned by Hunter Thompson. And also Adam does quite a few other things as well with podcasts like Dream Chasers, and also he's the voice of Liberty Fund with Michael Fly, who's the blockchain-based fund. So Adam is in many places. Today, the topic that he'll speak about is on how to leverage your connections for 100 times growth. So I know Adam is well plugged into many networks. So without further ado, Adam, I want to pass the mic to you and just let you kind of start talking about how the topic you intended to talk about, and Samson and Vinky and I we can help facilitate any questions. Would you prefer us just make it more conversational and just kind of interject as needed to help facilitate the questions in the chat?
Sounds good. So was that the green light? Is it my time?
Yes, it's a free green light. You're good to go.
Okay,
Great.
awesome. Well, before we dive in, I have to share with you guys. Yes, I just got to hang out with Misi not too long ago, and I love this picture. Just look at that smile on her face. It's a great smile. So, Misi, thank you so much for all you do for your network and the energy that you bring into the circles that you come into. It was really cool finally getting to connect with you face to face after going back and forth for quite some time now. So, honored that you've brought me here to kind of share my story and teach everyone the best way to. I think we had the title is how to leverage your connections for 100x growth. That's a little bit, I'm not gonna lie, it's a little bit clickbaity, but we had to get you guys in here somehow. So I guess I'll just begin with my story real quick. Originally from Cleveland, Ohio, where I actually come to you live from right now. My brother's getting married this Friday, so we just left LA. We thought we were going to go back to our home in Newfoundland, Canada, but we said, hold on, got to make a little side tour here. So we're in Cleveland. I'm from here. Spent the first 18 years of my life here. Basketball was kind of like my ticket to start going on and seeing and experiencing cool things. I played college basketball in Western Pennsylvania at Westminster College. Had an awesome time there. Also ran track and field, and from there moved on to keep playing basketball and studying and coaching as well in Belize, Central America, where I pursued and got my MBA. Shortly after that, I decided that I didn't want to pursue a future in basketball coaching, but more so just see what I could do in the realm of leadership. I knew my parents' dream was to have kids that went on to work for Fortune 500 companies and kind of work their way up their ladder, become whatever VP, CEO of companies, whatever. One day, I got sidetracked and I realized I think I'm supposed to be an entrepreneur. I just had so many moments where I realized, and this was during my time with Sherwin. So I got a job with Sherwin-Williams after Belize in the Washington, D.C. area, and I managed stores for them. And within my first 2 years there, I just realized this is awesome. I love this company. I mean, I would joke with people and tell them, if you slit my wrists, paint would come out. That's how passionate I was about Sherwin-Williams. But I realized that even the people that I looked up to there were still working like 70 to 80-hour weeks. And yes, they were glorified within the company and making good money, which would probably put them right about it, like an accredited investor level for a reference that we would know. But it still wasn't, I could instantly see that it actually wasn't the freedom that I desired. So I noticed during my time there, I started a little side business with my friend from Cleveland, Ohio, actually. Shout out to Chaz Irish. We started a t-shirt company, and we were, selling t-shirts basically to clients that I had at the time at Sherwin-Williams who needed to kind of work on their marketing and branding for their own paint companies. A lot of my clients actually were Hispanic. I speak poquito español thanks to my mom teaching me growing up, who's Slovenian. I know it's so random, but my mom taught me Spanish. And I was able to leverage that to, start this little side business with my friend Chaz. And that was the first time I realized, I think entrepreneurship is my calling, because we were closing deals and making money. And I realized, wow, this is actually all going straight back into our bank account. There's no intermediary. There's no other company that I work for saying, okay, good sales, here's your portion. It was just like, it was all ours. I'm like, man, I got to figure out how to keep going this way. So I read Rich Dad Poor Dad twice, probably like many of us here. And I realized, okay, well, it's definitely either going to be real estate or tech. And I just went the real estate direction. Got my license as a realtor in Washington, D.C., Maryland, Virginia. That was a lot of fun. But then, quickly also realized that there was so much more to real estate than just the HGTV way of looking at things. And I heard someone that I would just consider complete just role model and someone that I look up to at the time, and I can now call him a business partner. But I heard Hunter Thompson on a podcast. This is 2017, and I just loved his delivery. Again, it was like a huge epiphany hearing him come on the show and talk about facets of real estate that I just didn't know existed. And so I reached out to him like, hey, I don't know how I could be of value to you, but let me know. And Hunter, especially looking back and getting to know his story over time, there was a point in time where he was trying to do everything he could possibly do to just fill his calendar up. And so I remember he was like, if you have 10 people in your network that are in a position in their life where they could invest 50 grand or more, like, I'd love to meet those people. And thinking back to me at roughly age 25, working at a paint company, I really didn't have a Rolodex like that at all. But I scoured it, and I found 10 people that I hope could have a conversation with Hunter. And I'll never forget one person who was really a role model for me at that time was my broker, Andrew Reamer. He had a one-on-one with Hunter. And I remember I was in the Remax office one day where I was at, and he was like, yeah, I spoke to that Hunter guy you introduced me to. And he's like, keep hanging out with people like that. I'll just never forget that. And so I continued to follow up Hunter, and I was like, any way I can learn from you or work for you, let me know. And that was right around the time when he created the Cash Flow Connections mentorship program, which is an educational product that we now have at ASIM Capital that, I manage along with Raise Masters, which is our mastermind for capital raisers, which is how I know Misi. We'll get to that in a moment. But basically, I went through that course with Hunter back really before Zoom was a standard. I mean, there's me and 4 other people all on conference calls talking about our dreams and goals. And I was definitely the least qualified to be on those calls. I had someone in our group who's been investing for like 30 years. And I was just in there trying to absorb whatever I could. Hardly knew what an asset class was at the time. And just cultivated that relationship. We then he invited me to come to a conference with him to represent the company, kind of be the guy at the booth. And that was early 2018. And it's just been continuous growth ever since then. We really hit it off. That was around the time when he realized he wanted to transition from solopreneurship to kind of working with somewhat of a team. And I went from managing marketing projects for us at ASIM Capital to then managing the groups and sales for the Cash Flow Connections mentorship program, which once upon a time, by the way, if anyone's interested in this, I got to do my salesman part here too. Once upon a time, we sold that product for $4,500. We actually have a deal, especially for everyone here right now. If you'd like access to that content for $1,000, we actually have that option now. Part of the reason why it went from $4,500 to $1,000 was because a year ago, Hunter and I launched a product or a mastermind called Raise Masters, which is the #1 mastermind for elite capital raisers. Somewhere mixed in that journey as well, I came across an individual named Michael Flight as well, who Hunter introduced me to. And, early on my journey with Hunter, I wasn't really working with him, you could say full time. It was kind of part-time, maybe call it consulting, whatever. But I was like, the skills that I was providing to Hunter, I went to Michael and I'm saying, hey, I can do some of these projects that I'm doing with Hunter for you. Are you interested? And that's when the switch flipped for me. I was like, man, I'm full-time remote now, working for 2 beasts in the commercial real estate market. And I'm just going to hang on for dear life and see what happens. So Michael and I have been through an amazing journey. I was a huge part of the inception of Liberty Real Estate Fund. Michael and I do a podcast together, and we're still, cultivating this real estate blockchain crossroads together. But again, kind of with my journey with Hunter and Raise Masters and how I know Misi, really where I spend about 80% of my time now is growing and building and cultivating this fantastic group. So we launched last January. And now here we are, literally pretty much a year later. Hunter and I had the privilege of going on stage and getting a 2 Comma Club award through ClickFunnels with a guy named Russell Brunson. We leverage a lot of his curriculum and just leadership in order for us to build out Raise Masters. And then I believe I got to double check. We're at 147, 48, 49. Maybe someone here on this call today will be our 150th member. Who knows? It could be you. Or if you're listening on a recording, you never know. So anyways, it's just been really cool to see what we've built with Raise Masters. There's a real need in our marketplace for something like this, which is essentially where, an abundance of capital and deal flow collide. And we have some really cool people in our group collaborating. Again, a shout out to Misi. She knows exactly what I'm talking about. So anyways, that's my journey. That's my story. This whole commercial real estate thing started for me in age 25, 26, and I'm 30 now. Also happily married. I know you guys just got to see my wife, Nikki, pop in here. So anyways, that's my background. That's my story in a nutshell. I guess a few other things too. Here, I lived in San Francisco Bay Area for a while and currently live in Newfoundland, Canada. We're in the US, as I mentioned right now, and we're looking at a really cool switch up to our lifestyle here within the next few months, starting with the state of Florida, which is an awesome state. So there you go. My name is Adam, and I'm happy to share with you guys the life hacks that I've learned along the way to really help get to the next level.
Awesome. Thank you, Adam. That's very, very good introduction from what the key takeaway I had heard from your story so far is find ways to add value. And I know a few of the members on this meeting does it very well. One of them, for example, is Trevor. He always, is a go-giver, looking for ways to add value to people. So if I understood it correctly, you basically looked for ways to add value to people, and then slowly they incorporate you into the circle. That's how you 10x your connections. It's really about finding the person, kind of like the concept we talked in Raise Master, like Dream 100 or Dream 3, those people that you want to really work with, find ways to add value to them without them spending so much time telling you how they can, how you can add value to them. That's really how you quadrupled it. It wasn't really like linear. It's more like exponential, really connecting with the right people and really add value to those people. It was quality that more than quantity. It was the quality that gave you more quantity. Is that a good summary?
Yeah, fantastic summary. And Misi, I think back to again the conference we were just at, and I'm trying to think, how can I make this the most fun and beneficial experience possible for anyone I get to meet while we're there. And I just want to again remind everyone what we just reiterated, which is always begin with how may I serve you? How can I add value to you? Anyone that I spoke with or that I speak with, it's like, especially at a conference, for example, it's like, hey, what brings you here, and who is the one person, or what is the one connection or goal that you're looking to achieve to get you to the next level? And if you can, take a mental note of what people say to you when you ask them that question, you can instantly just, become that person, that connector. And when you're the connector, when you're the electricity source amongst everyone, the coolest thing for me that I've found is you actually never have to be the smartest person in the room. You just have to know all the people that know the things. And so that's part of the secret, as we mentioned here, which is, leveraging your connections to 100x your career or something like that. It's totally doable and totally possible when you have that mindset. So thank you, for kind of reiterating it there, Misi.
Yeah, sure. I know Hamad has his hand raised up, and he's in the car. Hamad, do you want to go ahead and say what you wanted to say?
Yeah, so I'm just going to take my camera off to ask this question. Nice to see you again, Adam. But, being Canadian, I'm really curious. Usually people leave Newfoundland to go other places. I know it's a beautiful place to visit. What brought you to Newfoundland?
Yeah, that's a really important part of the story that I kind of skipped over. And as Nikki and I, you guys got to meet. We've had a great run, a great time in Newfoundland, but we are getting ready for some next level journeys. But what brought me there was, as I mentioned, I moved to Belize. I moved to Central America to play and coach basketball and just kind of pursue that career path. And along the way, while I was in grad school, I met some friends who were in undergrad, and to finish their undergraduate studies, really out of the blue, I'll never forget, my friend posted on Facebook. He said, hey, I'm going to St. John's, Newfoundland to keep studying. And I remember I love maps. I was looking at Google Maps like randomly for like an hour one night. And I remember zooming in on Newfoundland before he made this post, thinking to myself, do people even live there? This looks like, this is just crazy. It's off the chart. No one ever talks about it. And the next thing you know, he says he's going there. So 2015 is when they went. And I was like, I got to come visit you guys. And from there up until now, I just always had a good time visiting. Especially I'd say in the months of like July and August when the weather is at its best. It's almost like visiting a Star Wars planet. You get some really cool landscapes with different colors and just things you really wouldn't see in other parts of, at least in North America from my knowledge. So, and the people are very nice. There's a very strong Irish influence there. I have not been to Ireland yet, but I've heard Ireland's one of the most friendly places in the world. And Newfoundland kind of has that essence when they have visitors, when they have new people come to their territory, they want to show the love. And I think some people might know, there's some kind of famous 9/11 documentary about how during 9/11.
Yeah, all the planes diverted there.
You know what I'm talking about. Yeah. So friendly people, great time, and just kind of pursued that avenue. And when I flipped that switch to full-time remote, that's when I was like, hey, I'm going to go live here. What I thought was for a few months. And the next thing you know, I started in my spare time DJing events and kind of just running some live events downtown. And I was like, man, I can go to two venues in particular and pretty much play my music that I like to hear at any time. For other people, it's like, I'm good. I'm going to stay here. Then COVID shut everything down. But as I mentioned, COVID was, it was beautiful because that's when my wife and I really got to go deep. And, who else are you going to hang out with when you're locked down? We got to know each other pretty fast. So, there's beauty in all of it. And that's kind of the Newfoundland story.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you, Hamad, for the interesting question. Only someone who's
shout out to
can ask
Toronto.
that question. So, yeah, as you know that we're going live in Jim's account in LinkedIn and Facebook, and we had a question coming on LinkedIn from Cecilia. Samson, that's your partner, right? So great question she had. She's asking, what would you suggest is the best way to get started in capital raising? Now you're, has gained so much experience hosting and the Raise Master platform and getting so much connections in real estate as well.
So I think the best way to start, especially if you're really starting from square one and you kind of feel as though it's just like, man, I don't even know where to go or who to listen to. One piece of advice that I'll kind of recycle that I've gotten from Hunter, which is instead of listening to, say, 100 different podcasts about raising money, do some homework and figure out who are the one or two people in this realm that I really resonate with, and just go miles and miles deep on their content. I'd recommend no more than two people, really. So I kind of have to plug our direction because it is what worked for me. So like, if you haven't listened to the Cash Flow Connections Real Estate podcast, I have my own show as well, Dream Chasers, but I'd say Hunter's show in particular is really specifically focused on raising money. If you want to, get a college level course on how to raise money for free, listen to his show. Over 1 million downloads. We also have a free Facebook group. It's the Raising Capital for Real Estate Facebook group. It's facebook.com/groups/RCFRE, Raising Capital for Real Estate. And if you're looking to just kind of bootstrap this thing, that's a great place to start. If you're looking to kind of make a self-investment, which, by the way, looking back on my life, I found the best way to level up is to pay to get to the next level. Because when you pay to get to the next level, you also make more money. So, as I mentioned, we have the Cash Flow Connections Mentorship Program, which we used to sell for $4,500. It's $1,000 now. If you're hanging out with us, happy to get you connected there. And then we also have the mastermind that Misi and I hang out in, where, we've got some really elite level capital raisers in there. It's a little bit more expensive. We can talk about that later, but I'm just trying to think of, what would I do if I had to start over? Find the one or two people that I like, go super deep on them, absorb all their free stuff. And then once you've absorbed enough of the free stuff and you're ready to level up, invest in yourself, pay to get to that next level. And there really are some other great groups out there. But I must say, I'm a little bit biased to Raise Masters. Would love to have you on our team if you're interested.
Yeah. And also another book.
This network too. Sorry. GOB network. Join the GOB. It's free to my knowledge. Great place to start as well. You're here already.
Yes, GOB Network is great as well. Yes, it's a great place to get started, trying to figure out, where should you spend your time, and then try to narrow down like what
Subscribe to
what
Misi
Adam
and
said as
Nikki
well.
and
Yeah.
Samson.
And another source that a lot of people actually like that I know is Hunter's Raising Capital for Real Estate book. I think it's like under $20 online if you purchase it. There's a lot of golden nuggets, actually, similar resources that's in his mastermind as well. So if you haven't read that book, highly encourage you to read that book as well, and also implement it. That's a big thing.
Yeah, actually, so real quick, raisingcapitalforrealestate.com, you can literally get it for free plus shipping, like $8. Raisingcapitalforrealestate.com.
Yes, that that's awesome. And so, any other suggestions you would give to anyone starting out about in terms of how to establish a great relationship with for deal flow when people are looking to raise capital?
As far as deal flow is concerned, that's an interesting question. The first thing, let me circle back to answering deal flow one. The first thing that came to mind for me is set aside some time. It's crazy how much sometimes the most important things we need to do is set aside time to just think and not be answering emails and texts. And I know I say this as though I've got it mastered. I'm working on it every day. But taking time to just sit and think and figure out, get clear on what direction you want to go. Just set aside an hour. I mean, really identify what are my 1 or 2 superpowers. And at age 25, 26, for me, it was, I had begun podcasting around that time. I was good at video editing, good at social media like most millennials. And so that's really what I offered to, for example, to Michael and Hunter when I first got started with them, was helping with media creation, production, marketing, social media management. And then that just snowballed into greater and bigger responsibilities. Really, I'm trying to think, I was like, never asked for a raise or anything along the way either. Just always kind of having that, delivering more than what the level you might be at is always going to serve you well. So I think if I really had to go back to like square one, and if you're trying to get into maybe the realm of capital raising, like, I know so many people that need help with acquisitions, underwriting, huge one. What's the other one? Investor relations, being able to make phone calls, build relationships. But let me make a quick highlight on underwriting as well. Most of us know, if you're in the world of raising money, finding someone to do underwriting for you is very, very valuable. I don't know why this code hasn't been cracked yet, but if you're trying to get in the door with someone and work for sweat equity, which my friend Christopher Nelson, who's also in Raise Masters, should put such a strong emphasis on, getting sweat equity in a deal, and just Google sweat equity if you don't know what it is, but getting sweat equity in a deal through underwriting is a great hack. And I must plug my friend Robert Beardsley's course. You go to uwmastery.com, uwmastery.com. And he has, he's someone who's just completely setting the trend for the direction of underwriting in this circle that we run in. I'd even say, if you check out his website, I want to say his course is $3,000. If you follow up with me after this and say, hey, Adam, I heard you speak at Misi's GOB meetup, I'd be happy to, connect you directly with Rob, and who knows, maybe he can even offer you, a deal or a discount on his course. Can't promise it, but, he's my boy, so I feel like might be able to help you out there. So those are some things about getting started. And then Misi said, getting started with deal flow, there's a million different ways to do certain things, but if it were me, probably what I would lean on or lean towards would be LinkedIn. LinkedIn has served me and probably most of us here very well. It's really the only social media that's out there that I'd say, if you're on it, it's almost like you can't, if the more time you spend on LinkedIn, if you don't know what to do with yourself, it's better than spending time on Instagram, I guess is what I'm trying to say, or Facebook even. Facebook groups are pretty cool, but I would say, invest as much time as you can into LinkedIn, building relationships there. Another free resource here that I'm sure a lot of us are familiar with, a guy named Yona Weiss at this time. If you're looking to get your deal flow up, hop into, reach out to Yona, tell him I sent you, say, again, heard Adam on the GOB. He'll get you connected with probably some groups or something that he has set up where you can, start asking questions about deals. You just have to begin the dialogue, I think, is what it comes down to. If you're looking for deal flow as well, just thinking of all these resources we're dropping, but even the Raising Capital for Real Estate Facebook page, get in there, or I'm sorry, group, get in there, share a little bit about yourself and start asking questions about deals. I think that's what I would do. There's probably some other ways to do it, but if I could give you a recommendation, it's just open your mouth and say, I'm looking for deals, and be clear on what kind of deals. Florida, Georgia, Alabama, Southeast, even just get a little bit specific on what you're going to ask for, and go from there.
Yeah, that's great advice. Thank you, Adam.
Thank
Another
you.
question that I hear others ask, and also I had the same question as well, is a lot of the capitalism is also about making great content out there to attract people, because real estate syndication, commercial real estate isn't just buying gum off the of the shelf. It's a little bit more complicated process. We want to educate our investors. We want to make them feel comfortable about their investment decisions. So my question is, what's the most beneficial platform out there? Is it really necessary to start a podcast? Because it's a lot of work, and sometimes podcasts can just turn into promoting other people's work day in and day out, which there's nothing wrong with that. But what's the balance of promoting yourself and versus promoting others and having a podcast?
Well, you hit something important there, which is promoting others. And if you kind of don't know what to do with your own content getting started, promoting others is another, great hack where you can leverage someone else's expertise to give yourself credibility. So if you hear, or you find your people that you really resonate with, and just kind of keep reposting their stuff, it will kind of help you step into that realm. Now, doing it yourself, I think, is an even faster way to gaining credibility and ultimately getting people to send you millions of dollars. So for getting started, and just really for anyone out there who is already creating and posting content, I'm a huge believer in the power of YouTube. I understand that, like, if you really take a step back, some people have some issues with YouTube because, like, they're canceling this and they're canceling that. But I think in the realm that we run in, we're out here talking about like numbers and stuff that your average YouTube consumer probably isn't going to like have a problem with. So on that note, the reason why I say YouTube is because it's truly, if you look at Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, Snapchat, whatever, YouTube is the only platform that is structured to be evergreen. I think it's going to be really the standard for maybe the next 4 or 5 decades. So as an example, I know I have a video that I made on YouTube. It was like a book review that I did in 2017. We're 2022 now. Had to double check. 2022 now. Within the past year, I had maybe like 10 or 20 views on it, and then all of a sudden it's up to like 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 views, and it's just sitting there. I'm not even like resharing it with anyone. And so for anyone who's feeling like getting started in content creation, I think YouTube is the ultimate place to begin and kind of master, and then go from there. We talked about the power of LinkedIn, that you can, again, a million different ways to do this. So I'm not saying this is the only way, but if I could recommend one thing that I think will really move the needle forward for you, is posting consistently on YouTube, whether it's daily, weekly, even monthly, and also just not killing yourself. Like if I were Misi, I'm like, man, I feel so busy right now. I don't know what to do with my time, but I'm doing this meetup, and however frequently it is, once a week, once a month, and just posting it and uploading it to YouTube. Over time, that compounds. And just simply the action of recording moments like this, chopping them up or putting them in full length, whatever, just getting it out there so that way people can learn from it when the time is right, is the best way to do it. And YouTube just serves as such a powerful starting point. And then from there, you can, post it on other platforms, get it on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever, maybe actually start a show if you do start with a meetup. So yeah, that would be my long-winded answer of how to get started with media creation.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, YouTube is very powerful. In fact, I was at a marketing conference last year. It was with a company called GrooveFunnels, similar to ClickFunnels, and they were saying YouTube is one of the most powerful strategies, just because, when you try to Google something, the first thing most people go to is actually YouTube versus just a web page, because they want to hear the content, and the indexing is very powerful there. I'm not doing much with my YouTube page right now just because I haven't had time. which leads to the next question. A lot of us are using virtual assistants from another country right now, and just because countries like Philippines and India, they have such great talent at a rate that's comparable to their market, but a lot more discounted for us, small business starting up. And what do you recommend for getting a great virtual assistant that can help with the content management? What are the traits are you looking for? After you answer this question, and I think Alicia has a question that she'll ask as well. Thank you.
Sure, yeah. And I also want to just back up what you said, which is YouTube is the second largest search engine in the world. Number one, Google. Number two, YouTube, as you said, Nisi. So again, get your content up there if you haven't already. As far as the best way to kind of source, hire, and find VAs, virtual talent assistants, I gotta say, first and foremost, onlinejobs.ph. Some of you may have heard of it before. Again, onlinejobs.ph. I just know from some things that we've been through recently at ASIM Capital, we have found just some of the best talent ever. Depending on where you're at in the world, I would just say, North American English speaking talent for, 80% less of the price. And I'm talking, very just highly trained individuals. We found just a lot of success hiring from the Philippines. Onlinejobs.ph, and just go on. They make it very streamlined. The process is pretty straightforward. Again, if you're looking to maybe bootstrap a little bit more, what I have found successful is reaching out to colleges and universities and searching for interns. There's plenty of college students out there, believe it or not, who do want to get into this space or are aware of kind of the commercial real estate investment world that were once kind of in the shoes that I was once in, which is, hey, just give me something to do. And I think a lot of capital raisers and really just entrepreneurs get hung up making those first couple hires because they feel like, well, I don't know what to have them do. I think what psychologically what happens is you bring someone on, and then once you bring someone on, whether it's paid or free intern or whatever, once you bring them on, your mind will start to realize, oh, I can actually have them do this. I don't need to do this anymore. I can have them do this or this. Or as an example, one thing that I would even consider doing if I was building a capital raising business is identify a college student, bring them on as an intern, explain to them the process and concept of sweat equity, so they know that they're kind of in this for the long run, and then buy a course, buy a course like Robert Beardsley's underwriting course and give it to them and say, go through this and learn this. That will take them from 0 to 100 really fast and take you and your business to the next level really fast. And then all of a sudden you have a specialist on your team. And you can do that with other courses and content material that's out there. It's kind of find someone who's young or hungry that wants to learn, give them, because you would know better, give them what it is that they need to learn to help benefit both them and you. So that's the thought process, I would say, of hiring VAs, virtual talent, or bringing on interns. And there's some other resources out there too. I know a few people have had a lot of success with a group or a company, Rocket Station. I think you just go to rocketstation.com. And I'm trying to think, there's a few other ones. I mean, you almost can't go wrong with Fiverr or Upwork. The main thing with Fiverr and Upwork is it's a lot of trial by error. So if you're looking to get a certain job or task done, hire 3 or 4, 5 people to do the same thing, and then just retain the one who does the best job. Takes a little bit more effort, but we've, from our own experience at ASIM Capital, I know we've found one complete stud. Shout out to Jason Wright, Nisi, you know who that is, who we found through Upwork. And he was just at the conference that we were at, and he was lighting it up. So, Fiverr, Upwork, onlinejobs.ph, Rocket Station, and then colleges and universities, hungry interns, they're out there.
Hi, Adam.
Hey,
it's
yeah.
Alicia.
Hey, Alicia.
Thanks for all the great information. This has been really awesome. I'm glad that you brought up the YouTube opportunity, because I've looked at my YouTube and I'm like, oh God, I hate doing videos. I love filming people, but I don't like to do them myself. So you piqued my interest when you talked about the book review. Do you have a system that you operate from, meaning like on Mondays you do this type of thing, on Tuesdays you do this type of thing. How do you go about producing your videos, and do you hand it off to someone else to produce them?
Wow. I feel like on my journey, I've kind of done a little bit of everything you just mentioned there. So, well, you said you like filming and you kind of like the creation process of the video, right?
Yeah, I do.
And maybe, I think eventually, Alicia, you're raising your hand here. We're going live right now. A lot of people are going to see you now and on the recording. So clearly you've got a certain level of confidence to get on camera. So I am going to encourage that until you're ready to fully like dive in and make that plunge. I would go back to the kind of the storyline that I provided, which was, and it sounds like you would have probably some video editing skills, marketing skills, etc. So identify who in my network is already kind of at that level where they're producing content daily, and say, hey, can I kind of help you with this content management, and just kind of be that specialist for them and learn from that experience, and then take it and rinse and repeat when you're ready to just kind of go all in. And I'm thinking about the imposter syndrome story that always comes to mind for me, which is some of you may know the movie, or I guess it was really a book originally, Catch Me If You Can. I think it was Leonardo DiCaprio that was in the movie. To my knowledge, that is based on a real story, and I think the individual who they caught, one question that they asked once they finally caught him was like, "How did you teach an entire semester of like 602 college physics or something like that?" And he was like, "Well, what I found out is, as long as I was always one chapter ahead of everyone else in the course, then I could always teach it." And so, if anyone out there is feeling that way, that kind of that imposter syndrome getting to you, just remember, simply by being on this call right now, you are one chapter ahead of someone in your circle. So don't just go, and I know it's easier said than done, but throw yourself out there. The more you get on camera, just the better you get. And go back and watch some of your old stuff too. I mean, it's kind of like sports, like you watch film to get better. I probably at some point will go back through today's presentation and like, okay, what could I have done better, right? So get yourself on camera. You're here already, Alicia, and this really goes to everyone who's listening, and just keep building on that momentum. And there was something else you asked there too that I wanted to dive in on, and it's slipping my mind. Did you have a part 2 to that question?
Like the systems?
Yeah. So
or the book review?
For the book review, right. So what I like to do for the book reviews, and I'd say I kind of, now that I'm talking about it, I feel like I'm a little bit overdue for one, but I will still periodically do that, is, find the book that you like, read it, get to know it, take some notes on it. Once you've taken those notes, for example, recently what I've done is just literally flip on the camera, express myself, read the notes to the camera, and then boom, you've got a 10, maybe 20-minute piece of content. Put it up, and for people out there who maybe want to either read the book or get the cliff notes, now they can just leverage your experience to their benefit. So that's really all I've done for the book reviews, and I highly recommend that process to anyone out there who feels like they want to do it. It's really that simple: is read the book, take notes. You can kind of try and just like feed it all back to the camera, but for me, I just kind of like to read off what I have a conversation, read conversation, and go from there. So if you go to my YouTube channel and scroll through it, I'm sure you'll see some book reviews in there. It's not something I'm doing like all the time, but they're in there. So you can use that.
How long do you normally do those videos? Are they about 20 minutes or?
But yeah, I think the longest ones I've done are about 20 minutes.
Oh, okay.
You can do a 60-minute one though if you want,
Yeah, a group of us are in the GOB, and we're actually reading Hunter Thompson's book. So that might be a really good one.
If you guys did a book review on Hunter's book, I can promise you, I'll get it into some hands that will probably recycle it for sure.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Same goes.
All right, we got you on recording.
Right.
Cool, thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure.
I have a question for you.
Okay, I think that's Vinky. Yep.
Hey, Adam, good to see you. Long time. I have a question for you. You were talking earlier about mainly about the marketing, how to market yourself. And then you mentioned Instagram. So I'm going to ask you to touch on that, how to increase your audience on Instagram, because Instagram is one of the kind of hip thing in today's state, and everybody's looking stuff there. And I think you can have a lot more traction if we can increase our followers there. So any tips there?
Absolutely. I think if you want to go the direction of Instagram, in this day and age, it's January, about to be February 2022. If you're like, okay, I want to go the Instagram direction, unless you're already like operating at a high level, like there's a reason why Grant Cardone can be on every platform. It's because he has massive teams built out to manage all of these accounts. So if you're just getting started on your journey, and you're trying to figure out which platform you want to leverage first, if you're going to go Instagram, I would recommend like really spending most of your time and energy focusing on just building that, and then LinkedIn, and then Facebook, and then whatever. So if you are in that phase in your journey, I would say obviously posting consistently is very important. Once per day, maybe multiple times per day. Instagram is something where it doesn't really matter how often you post, so you might as well get a lot out there. And then, oh man, what was it? It slipped my mind here. Well, hopefully it'll come back. But another thing that honestly is working really well right now on Facebook and Instagram, not Facebook groups, but like just Facebook and Instagram feeds, is paid ads. It wasn't always like that, but being able to kind of pay to get your face out there is kind of how these algorithms and systems are set up right now. So I think if you want to go the Instagram direction, be prepared to spend a little bit of money getting started. And all you got to do actually is spend a little bit, $5, $10, $20, and just kind of see. It gives you data and feedback on how everything's working. And then from there, you can kind of leverage and use that data to get yourself to the next level. I think also just some examples out there, someone who I follow and is in our group, who I don't think has tapped into the paid ad side of Instagram yet. There's a guy named Christopher Nelson, Wealth Word Capital. I would look him up. He's doing a fantastic job. I know he has at least one, maybe two interns like helping him with his platform. So again, look for this talent to help you do these things. But Christopher Nelson's a good example. Many of us here might know Evan Holiday. Evan Holiday is someone who has spoken at our mastermind before, specifically about how to turn yourself into a capital raising superhero through Instagram. So if there's a brain to pick or just a model to follow, I would definitely check out Evan Holiday's stuff as well. And then, honestly, most of you here know, if you're in the world of capital raising, you've probably seen Hunter's face pop up on your screen in a paid ad, not just Hunter. So or maybe follow his account. I don't know. Check out Hunter's account though. We're definitely doing a great job over there, as well as kind of getting him established as an Instagram influencer. But it wasn't always like that. I mean, that was probably within the past year because we were mastering some other facets first, in particular, really just the podcasting avenue, Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And then from there, we kind of said, okay, now we're going to go ahead and start doing these different platforms one at a time. So I think that just the biggest thing to always keep in mind, whether it's Instagram or whatever, is just pick the direction and the avenue that you want to go if you're getting started, and stick to that till you really feel like, okay, got this down. On to the next one.
Thank you, Adam. Did you say a person's name? First name is Evan? Someone
Yeah. Evan Holiday. Evan Holiday. I think it's HOLLADA. Yeah, something like that. Evan Holiday.
Yeah.
He's the man. Tell him I said hi. So.
Hey, quick question for you, Adam, as mod.
Hey,
what is something, some great insights there, and something I'm kind of looking into as well right now. The one question mark I have, and I think it's kind of more blocked for me right now, I see to get past, is, how do you pick topics, week after week in terms of what to talk about next? How do you plan that?
Yeah. A fantastic question. It kind of goes back to what I mentioned earlier, which is just taking that, even 30 minutes over the course of a month, even to just sit down with a blank sheet of paper and just hammer out whatever comes to mind first for you, topics. Now, I can actually provide some guidance on this. I have to find the link and send it to Misi, but I know we referenced Russell Brunson a couple times in this call as well, and he has a method that he uses called the JK. J is in Jones, K is in who's gonna give K now? Why can't I think of anything that starts with a K? Well, you guys are the JK5. The JK5 method is what he uses to kind of give himself ideas. And it's basically kind of identifying the 5 different things that matter to you that you can tell the world about yourself or your business, and posting about it. So I think for him, it was like family, faith, funnels, as an example, maybe athletics and something else. So figure out, 5 topics that you really like. Make sure your business is obviously intertwined in there. And I'd say probably make your business about 70% of what you post about, but give it some variety. And when you give it variety, you get on, you guys have probably seen it. You get on LinkedIn and someone's talking about how they went to their kid's basketball game and, they got their kid on camera, like shooting the basket or just something like that, getting the family involved or showing your personality. You'd be surprised how many people are going to connect with you on that. Another example coming to mind from you right now, shout out to Hunter, is once upon a time he was in a band, and he did a cover recently to what was it? Bulls on Parade by Rage Against the Machine. And here's Hunter Thompson, this person that you always pretty much like see dressed up in a suit or whatever, and all of a sudden you see him on stage rocking out to Rage Against the Machine. If you like Rage Against the Machine or rock or just that type of vibe, you're gonna see that and be like, oh my gosh, like that's my guy. That's my person right there. So like if you're running out of ideas, never forget your personality is definitely the backup, and that that's personality is endless.
Perfect. Appreciate it, Adam.
Yep. Thanks, Ahmad.
Trevor, I wasn't sure if you had a question. I saw you coming off on mute.
No, I was just going to say, does that mean my Slipknot videos I post are okay?
Yes, I want to see it. I want to see it. Tag me. I want to see it. There's one Slipknot song that I really like now. What is it? Before I Forget?
Yeah.
You know what? Yeah. All right.
Yeah. Sorry. It wasn't that helpful, but.
Well, hey, we're connected now. I'm not going to forget you because you're a Slipknot guy. There you go. Thanks, Trevor.
That's great. Any other one last question before Adam maybe give us any final takeaways for us that we need to have before we end the call?
Final takeaways.
Yeah, or any questions from the crowd before the final takeaways?
Yeah. Actually, let me have some fun here. Let me ask you guys some questions. So
yeah, ask questions.
What? This is for whoever raises their hand first. What is your goal over the remainder of this quarter? So Q1 2022. What's your goal right now? And we'll say in regards to raising money. And where would you like to be a year from now? And we love silence around here. We'll wait.
So it's easy. My second raise bumped the number up to 500,000, and my third raise by the end of the year to $1 million.
Love it. Okay. And let me follow up. I'll do a follow-up question for you on that one, Trevor. What is it for you, would you say, that's motivating you on a daily basis? Because in this business, real estate's one of those businesses where, from my observation, if you stick with it, whether it's 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, if you stick with it, you will build wealth eventually. So you're going to hit those goals. What is it that's motivating you every day to kind of get out of bed and do those things besides the 500K, besides the $1 million? What is it for you?
The fact that I didn't hit the 500K in the first one, I'm a high achiever and disappointed in myself, and it drives me to not miss it again.
Love it. And so what about, I guess, are you a family man? Is there any young Thompsons?
I got no life. All I do is work.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, we gotta get you.
And I am from Canada, and I don't know why you'd move back. I left.
Hey, well, as I mentioned, we're looking at Florida right now. So
I moved from Canada to Orlando and now to Austin.
That's why I asked him about Newfoundland, because even within Canada, people leave Newfoundland, not go to Newfoundland.
He's right. Yeah, I'm not going to
say we make jokes about Newfoundland, and unfortunately, I got to hop off and get ready to get another one. But thanks for this good session. Thanks for setting this up.
I'll be on the lookout for Slipknot. So yeah,
Yeah.
Hamad, you're right. Nisi, what's up?
Yeah, I just want to see if you have any final takeaways. Otherwise, I do want to remind people to follow some of the sources you mentioned, like Hunter Thompson's Raising Capital for Real Estate. It's a great book. And also Robert Beersley's Underwriting Sessions. And also Raising Capital for Real Estate, a Facebook group as well. I know Hunter goes live there sometimes talking. So those are some of the great resources associated with ITEM. And also ITEM's help helping with Michael Flight's Liberty Fund, blockchain-based fund. So all those things are good resources to check out. Just wanted to throw it out there. I don't know any last words for the session.
Yeah, you just reminded me. So I gotta plug this here too. I just put the Facebook group in the chat here on Zoom. If you're with us on Zoom, I'm gonna go ahead and punch in blockchainrealestatesummit.com as well. We should have tickets for that on sale soon as well. That's with Michael Flight and Liberty Real Estate Fund. So those are my guys. Those are my people. The circles that I'm running in, and now the GOB network. I've been running in you guys' circle for a while, so it's an honor to be here. I think I was on Aaron's meetup and someone else slipping my mind right now, but yeah, Misi, maybe it was Vicky's, but Misi, thank you. That's really all I would have to say from a call to action perspective. Just to keep it simple, is go to those two links. Yeah, facebook.com/groups/RCFRE. It's a Raising Capital for Real Estate group. And then the Blockchain Real Estate Summit, blockchainrealestatesummit.com. Really looking forward to that. I'll be the MC there, and likely more and more events in our circle I'll be the MC of moving forward. So Daryl, what's up, man?
Are you a GOP member?
I don't think officially. I think I'm an honorary member, I would say. Vinky sent me a wedding gift. So I mean that was instant. That was an instant in right there. So yeah, guys, I mean, definitely smash that like button, smash that subscribe button, stay connected to Misi, because she's just going to continue to have, I guess I'm tooting my own horn here, but some incredible people on this platform moving forward. So if you had fun today, don't forget to be friends with Misi. It's only going to help you.
Wow, that's a good one.
Thanks for the plug.
I
Adam.
vouch for that. Yes, I vouch for that.
I had a call with my coach today, and Misi. I know you got to meet him, and one of the first things he said of all the people that he met in my circle, he's like, I love Misi, man. She's such a sweetheart. I'm like, yeah, Misi's awesome. That's why I'm looking at that picture I had of us taking. I'll share it one more time. Me and Misi hanging out last week. There she is, and yeah, we're gonna have more fun times ahead.
Yeah, it was fun. Adam is very tall if you meet him in person. So thank you so much. Thank you, Adam. Thank you, the group. Thank you guys for tuning in live. We'll continue to doing this live. It's going to benefit the members and benefit others that's not members today with the GOB network. Check out gobnetwork.com, the first free commercial real estate wiki. And looking forward to seeing you guys next time. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks.